Welcome to Charter's Local Edition, coming to you from the Montana State Capitol in Helena in preparation for the 2015 legislative session. Our guest for this segment from Senate District 3 in Kalispell is Senator Bruce Tutvedt. Bruce, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here on the opening day of the session when leadership will be chosen.
Well, we hear them all jockeying for position in the background here.
Oh, they're all pushing and shoving.
And we have to try not to talk over them so we don't override the mics here.
Yes.
Tell our viewing audience a little about your background.
I came from a farm in north of Kalispell, between Whitefish and Kalispell, an irrigated farm that I ran with my father.
Still doing this, right?
Still doing this, yeah. We run a large irrigated farm, and so I keep that busy, and I've got several guys home working in the cold right now, so it's been
And how'd you get into this side business of politics?
Well, I had some people and some guy legislators. There was an open seat when Jerry O'Neill termed out, and they said, Bruce, we'd like you to run. And my farm and ranch was right in the middle of it. We'd ran cattle from one end of it to the other. It's a large district, and so I had a well-known name, and I'd done a lot of work in politics with Conrad Burns, and so I ran and I won.
And this will be your fourth, and because of term limits, last term.
Yes, I'll be a termed out senator at the end of this, and yep, I'll have served my 4 terms.
And I know you've got some things you'd like to accomplish in this session. Let's talk about state tax policy. That's probably first on most people's minds. How is it manifested in your mind? What do you want to do with state tax policy?
I've been chairman of Senate Tax the last 2 sessions, and I've been there and driving it, and exciting. I think we have a real opportunity to simplify Montana's income tax. We have one of the most complicated tax systems with exemptions and exclusions, and just a complicated system that actually takes as much work for your accountant to do your state return as your federal. And we're going to model that after Colorado, and we will take it to one of the simplest with lower rates. We'll lower rates 13%. We'll be able to have a simple, fair tax system that's just much better, much easier to do. We'll be able to take like 13 people out of DOR because they'll need less taxpayer complaints, easier to comply. So yeah, I think it's a win-win.
As much revenue will come in via this as has come in?
Yes, it's revenue neutral. We're able to do that. We get rid of the married filing jointly. There's a lot of good win-wins here. You know, with anything, when you change it, there's some minor winners and losers, but the CPAs are running different income quintiles, and I think we're going to have it dialed in. It's going to be exciting. The Montana Chamber is firmly behind it, so there's momentum behind this tax simplification.
Bipartisan support for it?
I've talked to several, yes, and I got it through both chambers last time, and the governor vetoed it because he didn't see it and understand it. We're kind of jockeying now with Mike Kadis on tax simplification.
Mike Kadis, the Department of Revenue Director.
Yeah, the Director of Revenue, and I've talked to the governor. I think they're going to see the merit, and I think there is a lobbying effort. The CPAs are now strongly behind in the chamber, and I'm hoping the governor looks favorable. I think he will.
Flathead, I think, is the center of reappraisal questions because land values there go so far up and then they go so far down, and the reappraisal process has a tough time keeping up with that. Do you have thoughts about how to do that?
Well, that's my other bill.
That's what I thought.
The second one. So, and actually, Director Kadis, his real first thing is simplifying reappraisal, and I'm with him, and we're working on that right now. How to make a 2-year cycle, make taxable value equal market value, times your mills, times the tax rate. So it's simple. Every taxpayer should be able to understand what their house is, why their home taxes are what they are.
It's to keep it more in real time, because the problem was, for instance, say a place on Flathead Lake that was worth $300,000 one year, and then in the boom went up to $900,000. The tax appraisal didn't keep up with it, which was good for the taxpayer in the first. But then when it crashed, they were paying for the $900,000 instead of the $300,000. This is to get it to jive more with real time, correct?
It'd be real time, and then it takes the simplification, and we phased it in to make the taxpayer, to make the jolt of those people that had the outliers, that had those huge valuation increases. And so it made a system that was very complicated, that the taxpayer was confused, and it wasn't real time. So this would be a 2-year cycle. It'd have a lag. So I think the taxpayer will understand it. It'll be be much more transparent and simple.
You've had a lot of participation in the revamps through the last almost near decade of work comp, and you've got some other ideas for work comp still. And what are they?
Well, work comp's been coming to us, and right now work comp meets all the financial standards, and they meet everything to become a standalone or an insurance company on their own and be run by the auditor. In '92, they couldn't do that, and so the legislature actually has oversight, an economic affairs committee, and it's kind of a hybrid. You've got a deliberative body, the legislature, doing oversight. We think, or I think, that the auditor should do it like another insurance company. And what that gets us is they become more like an insurance company, and we hope then we have an expanded market where other insurance companies will come.
And do you anticipate bipartisan support for that as well?
Yes, we've had bipartisan support. That came out of economic affairs. There's a lot of support there. The auditor's office have been negotiating with the work comp to get the right fit in there on how to manage it when we're gone and what they can and can't do, just like other insurance companies. So it's an exciting issue.
This is your last term.
Yes.
And just when you kind of get figured out, any hope for, or on your part or anybody else's, that maybe term limits would be expanded, not eliminated, the public supports term limits, but just so they're longer, or is that just,
well, you know,
just a non-starter?
We've tried several times to make it so you could serve 12 years in one house or 12 in the other house, and the Senate actually can function, I think, because we poach the House, and the House becomes the...
Meaning that representatives, when they're finished there, they come over to the Senate.
Or they come, or else they come part way through.
Yeah.
And so we take all their experience. So, but if they could stay in the House, a lot of people like that House and that attitude and the way it works. So I think there are changes. We need to adapt it, because when you get out with the public, they still really like it. In the Capitol, they see the loss of institutional knowledge, and I mean, it just takes you a long time to know where the Department of Revenue is and the Attorney General's office is, and meet your 70 staff. You got
Chuck Johnson, who's, I think, well acknowledged as the most seasoned and dean of the media reporting staff of this process, says the most injurious thing to it has been term limits as they're now constructed. He's a pretty valuable source.
I mean, we got Bob Story sitting on the sideline. I mean, who's probably the sharpest guy on tax policy. Whenever I get stumped, I always go to Bob. I mean, and so, I mean, we've taken some great legislators and removed them. I mean, and people used to cycle through.
And the people can vote them out if they want them out.
Yes.
They don't have to have the process to.
And what's the party has kind of gotten lazy now. You just let everybody kind of term through unless you're, so it's a different process. Term limits cut both ways. I don't know if I would have had an open seat to run for if it would without them, but now I'm...
Well, that's the good positive part. We've had a lot of good people come here that wouldn't have. I want to thank you for coming, and you got any closing thoughts? What's your hope for the session?
Well, I hope that we can limit the number of vetoes, and so we give the governor a lot of good Republican policy. I think that really will be good for the folks and make this a better place to live and have a job. I mean, I think we can do that and make some big strides with good policy, and I think the governor's going to have to look very seriously at signing it.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, Bruce. Thanks for serving, thanks for running, thanks for being here, and thank you all for turning into Charter's Local Edition.